Good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. We are back in Germany for more Dritte Liga. It is round 5 as this scintillating and intoxicating season of third division German football continues with Alemannia Aachen against the demoted from Bundesliga 2 side last year, SSV Ulm. At the moment, it's not going terribly well for either side, to be honest. Ulm, who would have expected to be somewhere near the top, are actually in 18th place as the game begins, and Aachen are in 14th. The home side line up with Olchowski in goal, De Silva, Kiala, Yarbrough and Meyer in a three-man defence. We expect Schepanik, Visa, Gaudino and Strujic across the middle, which is a formidable midfield actually, and something that Ulm will have to be very wary of. It's Schroers and Jindorf behind Niklas Horst Castelle up front. For the visitors, Christian Ortag in goal. A three-man defence for them as well, with Jonas David, Marcel Siegert and Lucas Mazag across the back. Then in midfield for them, Djaku, Brandt, it's Dressel and Gorlich, and then Dominik Martinovic playing behind Elias Loder and Andre Becker. Becker, who was expected to have a superb season at Ulm this year, has had something of a frustrating start, but he'll be hoping to really get up and running this afternoon in a clash which on the face of it doesn't mean much at this stage in the season. But when you think about the situation of both these clubs and given where they both were last year, it could end up being something rather interesting. Players are on the pitch then, and the crowd here, as you'd expect, is once again really rather good. All the yellow seats as they prepare to make that yellow wall that so many German clubs seem to try to do. Emulating Dortmund, of course, Borussia Dortmund, with that very famous yellow wall. We are due to get underway very, very shortly indeed. The lineups pretty much as predicted, to be honest. Neither coach has made an enormous amount of change compared to what they've done so far this season. Manager at Alemannia Aachen, Benedetto Muzzicato, and at Ulm, of course, it is Robert Lechleiter. Luca Jürgensen from Hamburg is our match official. And this is the first time for a while that I've commentated on Dritte Liga games that don't have a Japanese referee. I've actually not managed to look up this weekend whether that exchange programme with the J-League has continued this week. But it certainly produced a lot more cards over the past 3 weeks, or 3 match days rather, than we may have expected with German referees. Jürgensen, though, is a very experienced referee. He's only officiated twice this season so far and has given 1 red card already. But just as with pretty much all the referees and the officials at this level of German football, he is a German native. Players to look out for as we start this match with 90 minutes coming up. And if the rest of the weekend is anything to go by, we may well be expecting quite a lot of goals and maybe even some red cards as well. Both these sides, as I said, very near the bottom of the table, or in the bottom half of the table, and neither with a realistic chance of promotion, even at this early stage of the season, or at least that's what the analysts tell us. But we are ready to get underway. The referee blows his whistle, and we get underway indeed with the number 44 for the home side, Aachen, Castelle, who launches the ball forward, and it goes all the way to Ortag. First touch for the goalkeeper then. And he lofts it out, looking for the grey shirts of Ulm. So Ulm playing from right to left in this first half, in the grey shirts, white shorts and black socks. Home side Aachen, of course, are in their home strip of yellow to match the seats, the stadium and the fans It's not full this afternoon, which is unusual actually for this stadium. We do normally see a big amount of noise and a big crowd here. But of course they haven't had very much to shout about yet, to be honest. Top of the table in Dritte Liga in Germany. Before we start, Duisburg, top of the pile, played 5, won 5. Another good weekend for them. Saarbrücken already 5 points behind Duisburg, having had 1 draw and 1 loss. And it's exactly the same record so far in 3rd place for Hoffenheim. Here though is Castellet, and they managed to get a shot away in the end. Aachen, they're appealing for a handball. I think that would be very, very harsh if it was given. There wasn't a lot of chance really that he could have had to get his hand out of the way there. I mentioned that Duisburg had a 5th win on the trot, which they did this afternoon, winning 3-1 against Wiesbaden. First throw in then, from the left-hand side. And Aachen more than happy to take their time on the ball. They like to stay in control, keep possession. What they don't do terribly well is make the best of that possession. So they'll be hoping to change that record today, that's for sure. Scrappy so far, neither side has really managed to gain any kind of control, and that's to be expected in these early stages. Defensive throw-in now. Still with the home side, who've had the majority of the possession, that's for sure. They do have pretty much the worst home record, Aachen, in the league so far. Lost both their games at home so far. Having said that, Ulm had the exact same record away from home. Played 2, lost 2. That, of course, not including this game that has just kicked off 4 or 5 minutes ago. But we're certainly not expecting a high-quality game, given what has happened so far this season for both these sides. Good chance, though, to round up what's happened so far on Dritte Liga match day 5. We started on Friday night, as we always do, with one Friday night game. And Regensburg lost that one at home 3-1 to Essen. Essen with the best home record in the league. But here come Ulm. And that was a big opportunity. A really big chance for Elias Löder. And he's one of a few players, actually, for Ulm that has not really showed his quality or his promise at the beginning of this season. Not in the first 4 games anyway, but he'll be hoping to come good, and had an opportunity to do so there. Lofted throw-in, reaches the penalty area, but is booted away by the Aachen defence, and that will go all the way through Ortag, who pumps the ball back upfield, back on the right-hand side, into the middle, and cleared, should be cleared anyway, easily by Aachen. And it was eventually, but did make a bit more of a meal of that than they needed to. Ulm beginning to get a foothold in this game. And now a real chance in the centre. Footwork slightly lets him down there. Story of their season so far, Ulm not making the most of any opportunities that they get. Dajaku there with the cross that fell short of where it was aiming for. But that was a chance for Ulm, and that's two that they've had in the last couple of minutes. And Aachen need to beware. Another long throw, deep into the penalty box, and a chance for a round the corner kick. And Dressel, I think it was, really gave that a very good go indeed. Actually, it was Jonas David, actually. Up from the back, and a bicycle kick, or a sideways bicycle kick. Didn't quite pull it off, but it wasn't far away. One save made, though, by Olchowski in the Aachen goal. And now they can cross the ball into the middle, and there was a rather dangerous looking high foot there, but I think both players had their feet high. I don't think the referee will be able to penalise either particularly. Sasa Strujic, one of the best players in the league. Decent cross that was in as well by Szczepanik. And I think that was nothing doing there. And there was the attempted roundhouse kick. Not badly executed, actually. Here comes a long throw in, this time for Aachen from the left-hand side. And Gimdorf combining pretty well with Guardino. That one, though, put behind, and we'll have a goal kick, which Christian Ortag will take. With Strujic and Guardino in midfield for Aachen. Sometimes they are so far ahead, skills-wise and thinking-wise, than the other players on the pitch. You would expect Aachen really to have performed much, much better this season. But very often, the other 9 players on the pitch haven't matched up to Strujic and Guardino. And also sometimes those two players themselves have really off days, and so an over-reliance on them, which Aachen could have been accused of, as Aachen now have a chance to open the scoring. The ball centred quite nicely by Strujic from the left, but it didn't reach anyone. And we are, as we were, at 0-0, coming up to 10 minutes gone. From midfield, raking pass again, just trying to pinpoint the recipient, who was making a really good run. Some of the runs that Aachen have been making, even at the start of this match, have been really good. Ulm, far more traditional long ball side. Aachen genuinely try to play football. Or more cultured football, should I say. And then there was a good interception by Ortega, wasn't it? By Ortag. The Aachen fans finding their voice. And Becker, who is the striker for Ulm, in that number 49 shirt, just looks at a lone figure up there. Here comes Szczepanik again. Szczepanik combining really, really well, as they so often do with Gimdorf. And again, a good opening for Aachen. And that ball from Gindorf was supposed to be for Castelli. And I think the Ulm defenders had a pretty good case in point. It did hit his arm, so he wasn't able to even attempt to take a shot. Aachen still trying to work that same axis down the right-hand side. Schroeder's there, not happy. With how things are going so far. And Gindorf has had a pretty good season. And that midfield is, as I said, so far above sometimes the standard of the rest of the side that I imagine they could get a little bit frustrated. Both sides, though, have in many ways had their goalkeepers to thank for not being even further down the table. Szczepanik, though, as you've seen already in this game, been the most impressive player for Aachen. Here they come again, the home side in the penalty area, just trying to tease a way through and not able to do so. Certainly another decent attacking move, though. And again they come. And through the centre again, and there's space there. And it is Gindorf looking for a fourth goal of the season. Not coming this time. And we're coming up to the quarter of an hour mark. Still 0-0 here. Possession pretty even. But we've definitely seen contrasting styles of the two teams, that's for sure. Whether that is the manager's styles or whether it's a manager doing the best he can with the squad that he has. Is not entirely certain, but there is certainly a contrast of styles. Much longer, old-style football from Ulm, and much more technical from Aachen. In terms of opportunities, though, the two best ones have probably come for Ulm, even though Aachen have created the better. Another long throw. This one doesn't quite reach the penalty spot. But Ulm are able to get the ball in the box somehow. Djaku not quite able to make anything decent out of it. And possession switches back to Aachen and switches to the left-hand side this time. Although that's intercepted by Ulm, who instantly give the ball back. And we've got a bit of head tennis in the centre field at the moment. Neither side really able to keep a hold of the ball for long enough at the moment. That's a nice slip pass down the right-hand side there. And Aachen once again coming forward through that same two players, Szczepanik and Gindorf. This time, once again, it came to nothing. But the warning signs for Ulm are all over this first half. And there it was, The opportunity for Gindorf to make it 4 for the season. And maybe he should have done. The crowd think that there should be a penalty. Let's see. A tug on the shirt. That's certainly true. But I think it would have been pretty harsh to give that as a penalty against Gurlic. Goal kick it is then. Clever from Aachen, the way they just dummied that way through. Guardino with the little trick it was. This time though, Szczepanik has given it away. And the referee says there's a foul, and it's a foul against Aachen. So the free kick inside their own half. And Ulm can come again with David. Ball though knocked out of play. And Robert Leichleiter, I think, will be slightly worried the way that he's seen Aachen cut through his team's defence ever so easily, but also encouraged by the 2 gilt-edged opportunities that the away side have created here in this first 17 minutes. This, though, is happening far too much from Ulm's point of view. And Guardino just snaking and moseying his way through those grey shirts. And winning a corner, I think, or an attacking throw-in. In it comes. Yellow shirts in the centre, including Castelli. And whether Castelli headed that onto the post himself or whether Ortag got a touch, we'll see now. Maybe a bit of both, actually. No, that was all Ortag. It would have been a controversial goal had it gone in, as it appeared to come off the arm of Castelli. Left-footed, left-sided corner, right-footed in-swinger, and again, lots of danger points for Ulm here every time Aachen attack. Yellow shirts wide open in the box as well. Leichleiter will not be enjoying seeing that. And the fans now, the home fans, are getting frustrated with the referee for other reasons too. They believe that they should have had something given there. Guardino now, building again with Szczepanik. That would have been lovely had it come off. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work. But it's the thought that counts, right? Aachen again. Playing their brand of football, really trying to get through and around in a beautiful game kind of a way. All a little bit sedate, nothing too exciting yet for the fans to get worked up about. There is plenty of time left here. Aachen just unable to make one of their trademark moves come off. Now, a slip of the feet in the centre of the park from Szczepanik gave the ball away and meant they had a 3-on-3 Ulm. Andre Becker, though, unable to get onto the end of the ball. And here we go again with Lucas Szczepanik and Castelli. Castelli with a long-range shot. Wasn't too far away. Certainly worth a try. That is a very, very cynical but important tackle, and that is a red card. That is not what Aachen wanted at all, but I think I agree with the referee. Aachen losing the ball, Ulm pumping it forward. Crossfield down the left with one man chasing onto it. Would he have been one-on-one with the keeper? That's the question. And the answer is a most resounding yes. And that means that despite their good early play in this first half, Alemannia Aachen are going to be down to 10 men for the rest of this match. That's the second red card of the season that this referee has given out. But I don't think he had very much option than to send Chiala off there. Could Chiala have done something different? You could argue, I suppose, that Martinovic, who was the player coming down the middle, still had a lot to do. Was it a clear goal-scoring opportunity? Well, those are always debatable questions. The upshot is, Chiala is off. And Aachen are down to 10 men, and maybe... No. Going to say down to 10 and down a goal, but they maybe should have been. They have the referee's assistant to thank for it not being closer. Well, Martinovic has certainly made a nuisance of himself for these past couple of minutes. And Aachen just looking a bit shell-shocked. They were so on top. And then to be down to 10 men for the vast majority of the game still to come. We're only halfway through the first half, so 3/4 of the game still remaining. And now it's 3-on-1 for Ulm, but there was a foul in the build-up, which I thought there had been. Some protesting, but it's all good-natured and not too serious. Still Aachen 0, Ulm 0. Aachen looking for their first points of the season at home, and Ulm looking for their first away points of the season this afternoon. At least one of these teams will have achieved what they came to do by the end of the afternoon. Of course, if it's a draw, they both will have their first points of the season at home and away. As now, of course, with the man advantage, we should definitely expect to see Ulm dominating a bit more. And this is all going to get a little bit gnarly, potentially. And some instructions being sent on here now that they have had to, by necessity, change that lineup. Benedetto Muzzicato has written down on a piece of paper. I wonder what happens to these pieces of paper. Somebody collects them and puts them on eBay in 20 years' time. Some of the pieces of paper we've seen pass from managers to players over the years. Not necessarily in Dretterliga, but certainly in international football and top division matches. They'd be fascinating to read, wouldn't they? On we go then, down this right-hand side. And Felix Meyer. Lovely cross-field ball to Luka Szczepanik. Just can't quite keep hold of it. And here comes Martinovic again. Trying to get the better of Lamar Yarbrough, but can't. If you're just joining us, Aachen have had Zelda Silva Kiala sent off, straight red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. And Djaku has committed a couple of offences this afternoon, and the referee decided that that one, or after that one, he certainly had to send a message to Djaku. So Luka Jørgensen has handed Leon Djaku a yellow card. While we have that little break in play, I can finish telling you what's already happened on match day 5. Already told you that Essen won 3-1 at Regensburg. Also an away win for Schweinfurt against Ingolstadt, that was this afternoon, 3-2. Stuttgart lost 3-1 at home to Saarbrücken. Aue made it 4 consecutive home defeats on match day 5, making them the 4th out of 5 home sides to have lost this match day. Aue lost to Victoria Cologne, and Verl won away at Hoffenheim. The only home side to have taken 3 points this weekend so far is Duisburg, who beat Wiesbaden 3-1 to make it 5 wins from 5, which puts them, of course, top of the table. But 5 wins out of 5 is a super impressive start. For the team that only came up, of course, having dominated Regional Liga West last year. But to come straight up from the division below and to dominate the new league in the same way you had the one before is really very impressive indeed. Duisburg, of course, were only out of this division for 1 season, as Martinovic thought he had broken free. Was adjudged, in fact, to have fouled on the way through, and I think we can all agree that was probably exactly the right call. Still 0-0 after half an hour then. Aachen against Ulm, with Aachen down to 10 men. And the match now is in danger of boiling over a little bit, I feel. That was certainly not something that we want to see at all, especially not from the captain, Sigurd. And our referee having a word with Siegert's opposite number, Weiser. And everybody just needs to calm this down just a little. It hasn't got too out of hand yet, but it certainly has become quite feisty, let's say. Maybe down to 10 men, but they still have quality on the ball and are therefore able to create opportunities through players like Gindorf and Schepanek. Siegert and David just playing it across the back for Ulm. Eventually sending it forward, looking for Loader, not finding him. But Martinovic does come back with the ball and gets it through to Becker. Becker attempts that back post lofted cross, but it was always overhit. The adrenaline just got too much of him. Actually, it was Dejaku, excuse me, not Becker. Chance for Aachen just to calm things down now. With that goal kick. More yellow cards. And this time it's Jonas David who puts his hands to the sky saying, "What, ref? What did I possibly do wrong?" And of course, instantly afterwards we see quite how much he did wrong. Definite yellow card for Jonas David. And time for everybody just to calm down a bit. Lamar Yarbrough. Or Gaudinho will take this free kick. Gaudinho it's going to be. He is the designated set-piece taker. We're used to seeing him in that number 10 shirt. So close to threading that ball through was Gindorf. Now, definite work to do at the back for Lamar Yarbrough. Once again, Aachen come out from the back really, really nicely. The transition play is exceptional, as is that ball, and that would have been a beautiful goal. Unfortunately, it didn't quite come off, but they still are in possession, Aachen. And Gaudinho's calling for the ball, but it was a little bit too late. Brilliantly played by Aachen. Fantastic, intricate passing work inside the penalty box of SSV Ulm. Again, it comes to nothing. But it does make me ask myself, how are Aachen so far down the table when they can play football like that? I guess, though, that could also be their undoing if they try to be a little bit too fancy and get caught out on the counter-attack, which they have been several times this afternoon even, by the team with the worst record in the league. Ashowski, again down that left-hand side, there you go. Super balance to this Aachen team. They can go right or left. They do tend to concentrate on this right-hand side. But they really can go either way with the players that they have, like Gindorf and Gaudinho. We've seen a lot as well of Mika Schroers this afternoon. He's in the very centre of the forward line on your screen. Sorry, in the centre circle, number 27. And he's been very heavily involved in a lot of what has been good this afternoon. Here's Gaudinho again. Gindorf there in support. He manages to keep hold of the ball somehow, Gaudinho. And gets it back. But that was done illegally, says the referee. And we've got players throwing themselves down all over the place. Castelli, did he get the ball? Not that that necessarily is the key point. No, I think that is a very fair yellow card. And there are a few players on the pitch now who really need to be very careful. Castelli, who took the very first kick of the match, and that time had a kick at an opponent instead. Great noise from this stadium. Really enjoy this lower league level of support. Same it is all around the world, or especially in European football. When you drop down the divisions a bit, everything seems just much more organic, genuine. Martinovic is in the area. A snapshot across the face of goal with his right foot, and that was a decent, if slightly uncultured, opening for Ulm. And that's certainly where they're going to be, or where it looks like they're going to get their joy from. Struggling to clear the ball now, Aachen. But they do get it away eventually. Here's Löder, top scorer for the visitors so far this season with 2 goals. His cross though. Won a corner, and Martinovic has made his way up exactly as you would expect. Mazag, that we saw on your screen as well, coming into the penalty box. They haven't committed too many men forward. And that was a less than convincing clearance from the defence of Aachen, but in the end, Olchowski able to grab a hold of that ball without too much problem. There's Gaudinho again. Never fails to amaze me how he gets around the pitch. Yarbrough. And Gaudinho, who just seems to have a free role given to him. And you can understand why. Player of that quality for Benedetto Muzzicato. Absolutely vital. There he is at the other end now. Now he's back defending. What's the speed of him as he goes back? He's just been in the opposition penalty box, and now there he is on his own 6-yard box, having sprinted all the way through the centre circle to go back and help his team out. Gaudinho is one of, in my opinion, the most valuable players in this league. Madzak back again. Long throw. And there's no real commitment to attacking that ball in the area so far from Ulm. Maybe there will be now. Wachowski punches it away, but there was an offside flag anyway. Both managers, I imagine, will be quite looking forward to half-time, because both have work to do. On how their players will approach this second half. If it stays as it is at the moment, 0-0 going into the break. Here comes Martinovic. Now he's got a chance to open the scoring. Open the scoring he does. Number 10 for Ulm. And it was a very simple finish in the end. But he did create it very, very well. It's his first goal of the season. And the 28-year-old, born in Germany but with Croatian parents, gets his first of the season. And now Ulm, despite being under the cosh for most of this first half, have a man advantage and a goal advantage as well. And Martinovic only joined Ulm at the beginning of this month from Essen. And at the moment that looks like a decent free transfer. He's played for a lot of clubs. Never really made huge waves with any of them, which is why he's only actually spent more than one season at one of his previous clubs. Something of a wanderer, a journeyman, as we used to say. Aachen giving the ball away now far too cheaply. And they're lucky not to be on the verge of going 2 goals down. There's Szczepanik and Gindorf again. And that was an attempted shot or cross, I'm not sure, on that right-hand side by Danilo Weisser. And as I mentioned before, both coaches have a lot to do in the half-time interval that is coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. 30 seconds left of normal time. But before that, Ulm are going to have an opportunity, a chance to double their lead if that ball can come in. It doesn't, but it does go out for a corner. And Dajaku has played a big part in this first half for Ulm. And he's going to swing this ball in from the left-hand side. Not sure what those terrible noises are in the background. Short corner taken. A little routine, perhaps. And Dajaku nips past his first men, goes for a shot. Just wide of the right-hand post. Definitely worth an effort though, wasn't it? He'd got past Castile. very easily indeed. And Olszewski pumps that ball forward. We'll have 3 minutes minimum of time added on as Becker surely pulls down that last man. I don't believe that the referee hasn't blown his whistle there, but he hasn't. And Ulm are 2-0 up. And Andre Becker gets his first of the season as well. And goodness me, that really has gone downhill very quickly, hasn't it? For the home side. Surely Yarborough was pushed over, surely. I mean, Becker does very, very well in the end to go around Olszewski. That's a really good little flick under and over from left foot to right. But Lamar Yarborough and his manager, Muzzucato there, will be incensed by that. It is 2-0 to the away side Ulm, who will be, at this rate, getting their first away win, first away points of the season. And it will leave Aachen, having played 3 and lost 3 at home. But I'm going to say that that was a controversial goal. Many of you will disagree with me, I'm sure. But for me, that goal should not have stood. Ulm will do everything they can now to hold on to that 2-goal advantage, but Gindorf looking to go through and past his man. But there's definitely an air of slight frustration and deflation even with the Aachen players as Gaudinho once again tries to create something. And the referee says, no, that's enough. I've played the 3 minutes. And as their side goes in 2-0 down at home, the crowd make their feelings very, very known indeed. Martinovic with the first, Becker with the second, and it is 2-0 to the away side Ulm here in Aachen. welcome back to this, the 7th game of matchday 5 in Liga. And we have a really fascinating proposition now for this second half between Alemannia Aachen and Ulm. Neither side had won or even drawn a game at home for Aachen or away for Ulm, which explains at least partially their terrible positions in the table. Aachen came out the stronger, played really well actually, but just couldn't quite make the difference that they needed to. Then key moment in the first half as Kiala was given a straight red card for denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. You could argue it both ways, but it was probably the right decision by our referee today. Then two quick goals late on in the second half for the away side Ulm. The first from Martinovic and then from Becker. And now the home side Aachen have a mountain to climb in this second half. A man down and 2 goals down. And if it stays like this, then Ulm will find themselves up in 11th overnight. Aachen will find themselves down just above the relegation zone. Castelli has been replaced by Marius Wegmann for Aachen. And Castelli was probably getting a little bit overexcited in that last phase of this first half. Got himself a yellow card and could quite easily actually have seen himself get a second, and then Aachen would have been down to 9, and that would certainly have been game over, one would think. So his manager Benedetto Muzzicato has decided to make that decision for Castelli and replace him with Wegmann. What can Aachen do in this second half? It's not that what they were trying in the first half wasn't working, it's just that they didn't quite get that final ball. In fact, exactly as we've just seen there. Schroers with a clever little trick trying to flick on in the air, and it just didn't quite come off. Ulm, on the other hand, had 2 really good opportunities early on in the first half, and then they were dominated by Aachen until the sending off and those 2 goals. There might be a chance for Becker here to make it 3, but I think he was either offside or it was given as a foul. Even he doesn't quite know. Well, he can't have been offside, so it must have been a foul against Andre Becker. Reminder for you of who's on the pitch then in this second half. The home side, Alemannia Aachen, playing from right to left as we look at it on your screen. And they're in their home kit, of course. Yellow shirts, black shorts and yellow socks. And they are down to 9 men. In goal for them, Olchowski, as we just pause for a moment. See if Martinovic can get through for his second, which he can't. Just stick with play for the moment in case Ulm do manage to conjure something up here. They certainly started brightly, but keeping the ball and going back. So Olchowski in goal for Aachen. Kiala was sent off, of course, so Yarbrough and Maya, with Wegmann now on for Castelli. Then Szczepanik, Visa, Gaudinho in the middle, and that's a super third goal. Goodness gracious me, what a fantastic left-footed volley from Djaku. And as well as getting a yellow card in the first half, he was the man, I think, who got Kiala sent off. He was also instrumental in the build-up to the first goal that Martinovic scored. And now he has made it 3-0 to the side that came down from Bundesliga 2 last year. And I don't know whether Becker intended that to be a layoff, but it was an absolutely perfect one. And Djaku gave Olchowski no chance at all. Leon Djaku then, one would think, puts this game out of reach now. For the home side, and that's a terrible, terrible start at home for Alemannia Aachen. To lose 3 from 3 is really not at all what their fans would have been expecting or hoping for. And there will be a lot of questions to answer, because Aachen didn't have a great home record last year either. Wasn't quite as bad as this year, but they lost 3 games at home all season in 2024-25, and they've equalled that in the first 3 home games of this season. And there's going to be a substitution now for Ulm, as I imagine, and it is Djaku who's coming off. I imagine Robert Lechlater wants to do 2 things. Firstly, protect Djaku, because he has been something of a controversial figure. And secondly, he probably wants to make slightly more defensive formation. So Dennis Chesser has come on. Although he is in fact another attacking player, so Leclerc hasn't gone for a more defensive formation at all. Here's Schurz. Once again trying to conjure something up down that left-hand side. Doesn't quite manage it this time. Here is Kessa. So Martinovic is the first goal scorer. Who's down on the ground, looks like cramp, or maybe something with that calf muscle anyway. Dennis Kessa has been at Ulm. This is his 3rd season. He clutches his knee almost immediately when he goes down, Martinovic, and he, I think, is going to be substituted. Lechlater certainly wouldn't want to risk him at this early stage of the season. And Martinovic will certainly get a good round of applause from the away supporters. He's done his job today. Not a prolific goal scorer by any means. Mentioned in the first half that he's changed clubs every year for the last 3 seasons, and he has been replaced Lech later has brought on Paul Philip Besson, as he has many times. Besson, something of a prospect a few years ago, and another attacking player. And Elias Loerder is a little bit frustrated there. And Besson has come from Borussia Dortmund, as Schroers gets that really good cross into exactly the corridor where he intended it. Unfortunately though, with that man disadvantage, there was no yellow shirt in the box to get on the end of it. But they're still coming forward, still keeping that same mentality, despite being 3 goals and a man down. Meyer, the man who Ulm thought should have been penalised, but in fact won the foul. Gaudinia will take the free kick. And that came to nothing, even though it was a decent delivery from Gaudinia. Becker, the second goal scorer, laying the ball off really nicely. And Ulm have certainly grown into this match, there's no doubt about that. Maybe it's just what they needed after a really faltering start to the season. Maybe it's exactly what they needed. Here's Kessler, the substitute. Gets the ball wide. That pass cross along the floor was never going to get anywhere. And so Ulm go back. There's Siegert. And then all the way back to Ortag. And their captain helps out again. And now Grulich. And Meyer does well, keeping the ball from Elias Loerder. And we're going to have some more substitutions by the looks of things. And what do the home side do now? Presuming that Benedetto Mizzicato has accepted that this is a lost cause, does he give other players a chance? Does he try to give some of the squad players some minutes? Looks like that's exactly what he's doing, protecting the players who will be crucial for the remaining 33 games of the season, 32 games of the season. Looks to me that's exactly what he's done. He's done it with Schepanek. He's also taken off Gindorf, the top scorer so far this season and one of the most influential players. The one he hasn't taken off is that man in the centre of your picture, wearing the number 10, Gaudinia. Because you have to think that he will be the linchpin for this team if they're going to get out of this little bit of a hole that they're in at the moment. Dressel. Now the ball to Grulich again. Captain Segert, and across to the left with David. ball into the box. And I think we can safely say that Dressel's left foot spinning volley was certainly not as impressive as the one we saw in the first half. Nonetheless, they're in the right sort of area, and Strujic for Aachen, who's been unusually quiet this afternoon. As we reach the hour mark, and 30 minutes remain of normal time in this game. 3-0, currently to the away side. As they look for a fourth here. Kessler, the substitute, with the cross, and then a shot in the end, which was hit very well, but not very well directioned. And Olczowski easily able to deal with it, and you could argue that that was a really rather promising opportunity for that fourth goal. It was Besson who had the shot. He's only just come on, of course. But that amount of space in the area for a player of that quality is something that you definitely don't really want to be doing. Very difficult now, though, for Alemannia Aachen and their players. Difficult, as I said, to know how to approach it, really. There's Besson again. Two substitutes combining. Kessler and Paul-Philippe Besson. Doing so pretty well. Lovely nutmeg from Besson. There's a lot more freedom in Ulm's football in this second half. I imagine that's what Leclater might have said to them at half-time. Just go out and enjoy yourself. You've got the 2-goal advantage. You're a man to the good as well after that sending off in the first half. And they did look just very nervy and scared at times in that first half when Aachen were playing through them. But they've come out in this second half and they do seem to be enjoying themselves a little bit more. Trying a few more things. And as I said, playing with a bit more freedom. That was offside though. But again, a decent idea. From Jonas David. In the end, the offside flag was raised anyway. And we continue. Aachen. They're just pumping the ball along themselves now. They too don't really know how to approach this final half an hour. Very difficult mentally to continue to give all you've got when you sort of know that it's a lost cause. And in any case, it's a very long season. You don't want to injure yourself at the end of a game where you know you're going to get nothing from it. Gaudinho will take this corner from the right-hand side. Bit of movement from the yellow shirts in the box. And a chance for a header, is there? No. The ball will come back out to Gaudinho. What can he do? Attempts a little chip pass over the top. And then, of course, beats Elias Loerder to the ball. He seems to beat everybody to the ball, Gaudinho. Super pass, look at that. Curling right-footed, all the way to the right-hand side. To the substitute Heister. Still have the ball, Aachen, still coming forward, battling well for it. But they do lose it in the end. Becker it was, I think, who won it back. And Loerder down the right-hand side, manages to get the ball perfectly for the cross opportunity for Gorlic, but that came to nothing in the end. And Becker, who can be relatively satisfied with his afternoon's work. First goal of the season for him, and for Martinovic. And that's only goals number 4, 5 and 6 this season for Ulm. They've doubled their tally from the first 4 matches in one sole match. Pretty much, anyway. Can Loerder get on the end of this? No. He can't. The defensive cover was good from Strujic, who, as I said, we haven't seen much of in this match. We normally see him orchestrating everything down that left-hand side, and with Gaudinho in the centre. Gaudinho still doing his job, but Strujic has been quiet. They're still trying everything. It is a frustrating time of the game for Aachen as they look just to pull one back. And what tends to happen there, as we just saw a great example, is that you're looking and you're too keen, and the adrenaline just takes over occasionally. And the balls tend to be overhit and they lose their rhythm a little bit, because they did have great rhythm in that first half. And all the stuffing was just knocked out of them slightly by the sending off first of all, although that actually gave them a bit more motivation for a short period, but then those 2 sucker punch goals towards the end of the first half really making life very difficult for Mitsukato's men. Gaudinho, though, has been impressive again this afternoon. Very difficult times at the moment for Benedetto Mitsukато. This is his first season in charge, of course, having been with Freiburg beforehand and Victoria Berlin. But he's certainly not had the greatest start to his managerial career, I have to say. The fans at the Tivoli have not had an awful lot to get excited about so far. This is, as I said, their 3rd home game of the season, and it will be their 3rd loss as well. Next up for Aachen on match day 6 trip to BeReal. And that is in the midweek round of fixtures which we've got coming up this week on Tuesday and Wednesday evening. And you'll be able to watch a great deal of those live here with us, and also see the highlights which we'll produce for you on YouTube as well. Aachen fans appealing for a penalty. Referee not impressed and not in any way tempted. If you missed the first half, then the second goal scored by Ulm, by Andre Becker. He got through one-on-one on the keeper, but the way he got through to get one-on-one with the keeper was, in many people's view, including mine, by pushing over Alemannia Aachen. The referee gave no foul, and the goal stood. And it does beg the question, how long until video assistants get used in lots more levels of professional football? Strujic fouled here, so Gaudino with the chance from a set piece at the very least. He'll want to deliver that ball into a dangerous area, and Aachen have put 6 men inside the box to try and get on the end of this for Gaudino. Nice pace, nice direction on the delivery, but good defending actually from Ulm, I have to say that. Second chance for a cross in though. And the ball, I think, is going to be cleared competently by Ulm, which it is. Elias Löder absolutely looking for that foul there. Referee completely right to be unimpressed. And Meyer, who has certainly demonstrated that he feels he's been on the wrong end of a few decisions, makes a decent move down that left-hand side and allows one of the substitutes, Florian Heister, to win a corner, which of course Gaudino will come across and take. And we have 20 minutes left of normal time. Gaudino from the left-hand side. This will be a right-footed in-swinging corner. It's low and fast, and it's in. Gaudino, I think, will be awarded the goal. Very unusual to score a goal direct from a corner, but Gaudino looks like he's done it. I'm not sure whether it might have got a touch somewhere on the way in. But it looked to me, I just lost sight of it a little bit. Actually, it was going in, but I have a feeling, well, it certainly hit a head on the way through. We'll see who they immediately give the goal to. What I couldn't tell was whether it came off the head of another yellow shirt or off the head of the number 14 in the area there, Dressel, for Ulm. If it did come off Dressel's head, then I think the goal will still be given to Gaudino, as it was heading in anyway. And suddenly, but probably too late, Aachen have their heads up again. Ortag will clear the ball long, I think, from here. And Gaudino, who I've been praising all game, is one of those players that when you look at his heat map for the season as a whole or an individual match, You really wouldn't be able to tell what position he technically plays in. He really is everywhere, and he's deserved that goal. I must say that. It's his first goal of the season as well. And as I said, if anyone has deserved something from this game, it is Gianluca Gardino. And the referee pulls out a yellow card for Marcel Sigat. And the Aachen players are arguing that just like Callier in the first half, he was the last man. I must say, it is a very similar position. The only difference you could say is that Kessa is coming across and would have had a pretty good chance to stop that goal-scoring opportunity. But then, as I said, it was very, very similar. And the decision given against Callier in the first half that gave him that straight red card. It was a yellow, which means that Gardino can take a free kick and launch something of a platform. That is a speculative, ambitious effort to get a second goal for the home side from the substitute. Richter. Got to have a go, I suppose, especially at this stage in the game. 3-1 it is then, as we get into the last quarter of an hour here. That win, or these 3 points for Ulm, assuming that they take them, will take them up not quite into the top half of the table, but they'll be on 6 points. It's their second win of the season. Ulm, who came down from Bundesliga 2, of course. And they played Duisburg. It's one of their first matches as Loerder. Now Olszewski can get there first. And Duisburg against Ulm was a fascinating matchup because Duisburg got promoted last season into this division and Ulm demoted into this division. But Duisburg were very much the team on top when they face each other at the end of August. And Ulm's only win came on match day 2 against SSV Ulm. There's Seger, who just instructs Jonas David to go back to Ortag. They don't need to rush anything. There's no pressure on them at the moment to get a fourth goal. A 2-goal cushion with 10 minutes left should be enough. If they were to leave themselves too open, though, and gift Aachen a second, then with the fragility, the mental fragility that they do have, and that we saw actually in that game against Duisburg, you might start to think that Aachen could steal something at the last. So Siger doing really well, and David did exactly what his captain was asking. And on that occasion too, some good play from Besson. Down the middle, here come Aachen again though, with Strujic on the left-hand side. And Heister calling for the ball. And then when Strujic got it, put it exactly where he wanted, he wasn't able to collect it. Heister, I think, will be a bit disappointed with himself there, because he was very vocal to Sasha Strujic that where he wanted the ball, and Strujic did put it exactly where Heister asked him to. Dalinavisa coming off. And there were Kelly on. Looked like he might have an early opportunity to make something of a difference, but in the end, Fatana Ademi, who came on for Schroers, who had been, again, one of a pretty impressive midfield first half from Aachen. Schepanek, Gaudinho, Strujic, Schroers and Gindorf had been combining absolutely brilliantly. In the end though, there is only one statistic that matters, and that's the one at the top left-hand side of your screen. And it is one very much that favours the away side, SSV Ulm, for now. Elias Loerder sensing an opportunity to score. I have to say, there was a chance to cross into the middle, and Besson is holding his arms out wide, but he had made his run far too early, and had Loerder tried to cross it, the offside flag would have been raised. So I think Besson actually is being rather unfair there, because the fault was very definitely his for going too early. Meanwhile, Kessler and Ademi having a few words. I don't think the management at Aachen will do anything drastic yet at this stage of the season, but you would have to say that if it continues, they will have to have a very serious look at the decision they made in July to hire Benedetto Mizzicato, because so far it definitely hasn't paid off. It will be a miserable first 5-match record. For Mizzicato since he arrived here at Aachen. And we're into the final 8 minutes of normal time here at the Tivoli. And because of the situation, I think it is probably going to be a very quiet, sedate last period of this match. Tomorrow, 3 matches in Dritte Liga. It starts with the early kickoff, 12:30 local time. We'll just pause for a second here to see if Aachen can make something of it in this last 7 minutes. They can't. Heister all the way across goal, free. Not a bad shot, spinning ball. Not simple for Ortag to grab a hold of, but he did in the end. So matchday 5 concludes tomorrow with 3 games. The early kickoff at 12:30 sees Osnabrück host Rostock. Osnabrück against Rostock, a definite Dritte Liga staple. That is a mid-table clash. Osnabrück currently 8th and Rostock in 12th. Then Cottbus go to Mannheim. And Mannheim flying pretty high at the moment, actually, in 7th, with Cottbus disappointingly in 13th. Through we come for a 4th goal, is it? No, puts it wide. And Besson again will be disappointed with himself here. Or was it a crucial touch from Meyer? Could have been the latter. So Osnabrück Rostock, then Mannheim against Cottbus, and then the last game at 6:30 tomorrow is 1860 Munich against Havelse, with Munich currently in 5th place. And Havelse struggling at the foot of the table, having played 4 and having only 2 points at the end of it. Orte easily grabs a hold of the ball, falls on it, and makes absolutely sure that it's safe before getting up. Does use a bit of time as well, of course. And you can't blame him for that. Here's Kessler down that left-hand side, trying to get the better of a fellow substitute. Jamie, I think it was. But in the end, there were 2 yellow shirts, and Kessler wasn't able to do anything with it. Aachen, though, will try everything they can for this last 5 minutes of normal time, plus whatever is added on for stoppages at the end. Ball given away very, very cheaply in the centre of midfield there by Aachen. And Ulm just biding their time. They don't need to do anything at all, of course. The 3 points at the moment are theirs. It certainly doesn't look like they're in danger at the moment. Nice attempt at some trickery by Aachen down the right-hand side. They don't give up, of course they don't. And Gaudino at the centre of it, as he always is. But that time, nothing came off. Reaching the end of this game then, and it's Alemannia Aachen losing 3-1. Despite having pretty even game of it in terms of possession, shots. The big issue for them was that sending off in the first half, pretty early on as well. That really set the tone for the rest of the game. Kiala sent off after 26 minutes. And in the 2 final minutes before half-time, Ulm made their advantage count. Kessler again. And here's Lerder. Bit of interplay. It's not crisp by any means. But they're at least trying to insert some kind of excitement into their play. At the moment, though, it doesn't really matter because, of course, with that 2-goal advantage, they don't need to try anything, but it is, as we suspect, like Leiter told them at half-time, an opportunity for them to let their hair down a bit in a footballing sense. Here is Becker, second goal scorer. And Besong, and now a chance, maybe, to open up from outside the area. A little slip, but the ball does still go wide to Loerder, does it? Loerder does get hold of it in the end. Ulm looking to use up some of the referee's time here, I suspect. And the fans here won't like that, of course. And that's Brandt, who might have had a bit more time than he thought to take a shot from the edge of the area. We're into time added on now. The fans, though, the home fans, are staying. Doesn't look like they're leaving. No mass exodus up the stairs towards the exits here. Even at third division German football, fabulous fans, exemplary fans. Even though the game has lost, the points have gone. They will stay and support their teams. You wouldn't see that at a lot of grounds in other European leagues. You'd see the stairwells full and the staircases full of fans making for the exits early in a situation like this. So impressive stuff from the home fans here at the Tivoli in Aachen. 7 minutes of added time we're going to have in total. And that was maybe a little bit rash by the substitute Alequa. Gaudinho still wanting to be in the heart of the action, and is again. Aachen fans really got to hope that he doesn't get injured at any point this season. Three on three. Here as Ulm look for a fourth goal. Something that certainly they wouldn't have expected at any point during that first half. Brandt again. Goes down in pretty much the exact same area, but this time he gives the ball away to Aachen, who can break forward. But they're not able to take that advantage. In any case, it was 2 against 5. Strujic trying to make his mark. And that second header back across, again, could have been so much better. And Jonas David and Matt Sag just giving themselves the old hand slap to say we did a good job there, boys. And it was Alequa again who with that disappointing header back across goal. He's a real lump, isn't he? A big guy, Emmanuel Alequa, only 20 years old. And someone who a lot of teams have been following since the academy days. But he does look slightly ungainly. And has a lot to learn, of course, at just 20 years old. More substitutions. This time, 2 for the away side. We've only made a couple so far, actually, and it's going to be Andre Becker, first of all, coming off. And he's going to be replaced, having scored the second goal by Lucas Russer. A real veteran, Russer, at 31 years old, and another right-footed forward. And Marcel Siegert also came off. And Jan Buller replacing him in defence. Russer for Becker and Buller for Siegert. Buller is a new signing over the summer. Came on a free from Fortuna Düsseldorf. He'll very much be a bench player, maybe a cup player as well in the Pokal. Gaudino. And here is Buller. Not a bad first touch, actually, or first involvement in the game, should I say. Ball through. Kessa has been very involved since he came on, no doubt about that. Been a very good afternoon for Robert Lechleten. Promoted to the senior team from the under-19s. Outside the box, and worth a try from Richter. That's the second shot that he's attempted from outside the box. Neither have been on target. Corner into the box. Gaudino fancies a go, has a go. Richter, who we saw having that shot there from outside the area. He's going to have that to look back on. Young midfielder. And that who will hope for much better afternoons here at the Tivoli with Alemannia Aachen. Because this afternoon, having started very brightly indeed, Alemannia Aachen have lost 3-1 at home to make it played 3, lost 3 in Dritte this season at the Tivoli, their home ground. It all started in the 26th minute when De Silva Kayala was sent off for preventing a clear goal-scoring opportunity. It was going okay. They looked like they were going into half-time, still at 0-0. But 2 minutes before the break, Dominik Martinovic made it 1-0, assisted by Andre Becker. And Becker himself, 2 minutes later, got the second. It came out after half-time, and within 5 minutes, they were 3-0 up through Leon Dajaku. Again, an assist for Andre Becker. So two assists rather, and a goal for Becker. No doubt who'll be getting the Man of the Match award. Gianluca Gaudino, having played brilliantly all afternoon, got one back with 20 or so minutes left, but it wasn't enough. And Ulm get their first away points of the season and move up into 11th spot as we record. It is finished here at the Tivoli. Alemannia Aachen 1, SSV Ulm 3.